Calling the meeting to order. What time is it? 3:36. Oh, what's that? Gosh, today's date.
18th.
The 18th, February 18th, sorry. Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry. My mind is like reading the statistics. Okay.
Super does the roll call.
It is.
Super.
Okay.
Ms. Balahi,
Here.
Ms. Blaylock,
Here.
Mr. Kleiss,
Here.
Ms. Marlin,
Here.
Mr. Miles,
Here.
Mr. Shetty,
Here.
Ms. Welter.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Okay, and we have a quorum. Okay. Do we have any changes to the agenda?
I don't have any. I don't think so.
Anyone? Okay. And approval. Copy of the minutes.
They were in the email attachment, but if you want to take a copy, I want some extras.
I brought mine. I wasted mine.
You were. Thank you.
I made the packet super colorful for you this.
I didn't print that. I told
I
him to stop.
know.
Told my girls, I said, you stop right there.
I know.
Print that baby. I will go through a couple cartridges.
Yeah, I saw 62 pages. I thought, oh, I can bring that anyway.
Okay, so do we have any, so we want to move forward with approving the minutes, any changes?
Also move.
Second. And moving along. Guess we want to have public input today. So we want to,
Staff report?
yeah.
All right. Let's see. We presented the annual report to the city council on January 19th. Oh, I'm reading from the minutes from last month. Let me give you a new staff
I heard that
report.
before.
All right, I feel like I told you that before. Sampling. So we talked a little bit about sampling at the last meeting, and there have been some updates since that point. I know I told you right as we were getting the information, and it just so happened to be the next day I got the email from the Illinois Stewardship Alliance, who are kind of in charge of spreading the word about this. The Illinois Department of Public Health launched an online training for farmers market vendors to be able to take the farmers market food product sampling and obtain their certificate without having to travel to an in-person course. Before, they were just going to have two courses. One was going to be yesterday at the Illinois Farmers Market Association conference, and the other in Springfield at an undetermined time. But then after a lot of feedback from folks, they said, all right, we'll get the test online, you can take it there. So if you want to access it, that's the website there. And the course number I also noted as well. I included as attachments all of the information that came along with what was given to me, as well as the application that you need to complete if this is something of interest to you. So there's two ways to go about obtaining this certificate. And once again, this certificate is valid for 36 months, and it's valid across the state. So you can travel from county to county without having to get a new temporary health permit to sample. So this is pretty great in that sense, and it's significantly less expensive than it was before. So if you hold a valid Illinois Food Service Sanitation Manager certificate, all you need to do is fill this out.
What's that?
If you do hold that, let me do that first. It's a class that you can take online, or usually they have them at community colleges. Like I know that there's one at DAC coming up, Danville Area Community College, pretty soon.
I'm sorry, I'm trying to turn it down.
So what does that entail you to do, or have, or?
It's- To take that class, it's between like $80 and $150, but most restaurants require that their manager or chef have this license. I think by state laws, someone
Yeah.
on every shift has to
Yeah.
have that. And it's like a full day class, I believe.
Or you can split it up in 2 days, but it's over 8 hours.
Yeah, it's a long one I've taken up.
And so
Yeah.
it's a little more extensive, but if you have that, you fill this out and you send the state $10. You're done. If you don't have that, then you can take what is it called? Food handlers certificate. So it less time, it costs $9. You go online and you take it. Then you fill this out and you take the online class through the farmers market training program. And you send them $40. So that's why there's either a $10 certificate or a $40 certificate. So Sterling and I are going to take that one since I'm not a food service manager. I don't need to take that big long class because all I'm going to be doing is cutting up vegetables from you guys for the Sprouts at the Market program, or Sterling or our Sprouts coordinators. And so that's the other option to do. So if you don't want to sit through the 8-hour class, I would.
How does that compare to the cottage food bill? Where they take a test and then they can sell products out of their home.
It's either one of these that they have to take.
So that's what that is.
One of those two classes.
Really? I didn't. Oh.
So, and,
So what's it?
give you all these things.
I guess they just allowed it to do samples at the market under that same umbrella then, basically.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Although with this one, you can have hot or cold
I
items.
seen that. I thought it was only gonna be veggies, but I see that.
Hot or cold items, and then they gave all of the information on there. So it's similar to when we
It's
took
called
out
common sense, but that's,
that, well, they gotta
I know.
write it out here, but it's similar to the temporary health permit that we took out at the CSA fair to have samples. And so you need to have the proper hand washing station, temperature, the cleaning and sanitizing the sinks with the pH strips and all that kind of stuff. So there's still some things involved, which is good. That way we make sure everything is clean and healthy. And but there are a few steps in the process. But it's all available online now, so you
Now,
don't have to go
if-
take it in
If,
person.
say a vendor had that, can I discuss this or am I wasting time?
You can ask questions about it.
And you have somebody else, say like a chef or somebody, would my thing cover?
Nope, they will also have to get one of these. I inquired about that to the local health district. They wouldn't answer any of my questions. They said, please refer to the state of Illinois, it's under their jurisdiction now. So they have washed their hands of this, it's all through the state. But they did answer my question insofar as when we have chef demonstrations at the market, what kind of permit or certificate or what do I need when the chefs or home cooks or whomever they might be come? And he said, they could do this, but they need to have that. Every person involved, anyone that would touch a piece of food during the process of preparing it for the sample must have this. And they said, any other questions? And they gave me a person.
Even if they own a
name.
restaurant, I guess, huh?
Well, if they have a restaurant, then they probably already have the food,
Yeah.
the food service sanitation manager certificate.
Okay.
Yep, so they would just send $10 on with this application, be done, they'd have it.
So if you have 5 people helping you, all 5 of them have to have it?
If they want to sample something. But if they're not going to be involved in the process, like you have a pretty big staff at Market, and if it's just you and one other person that's going to wash, cut, prep, give out, then it's just you two. But if anyone else from that 5 ever filters through that process, then they also have to have it. But it's valid for 3 years, and it would work wherever you decide that you want to do that.
Is that a certificate that you have to display at the market, or you have to have?
I'm unsure about that, but I'll ask
Okay.
that
I
question
would
and I'll get back to
probably
you.
have it, it's like our health department stuff we do, you better have it handy.
Well, yeah, that was. I mean, she said that they kind of wash their hands of the thing, but
Yeah, you
right,
better have it
that was
handy.
my
Yeah, they're gonna-
question.
They're gonna check,
Just
guarantee.
if you do decide, if anyone decides to do that, I'm gonna say this to all the vendors out there, if they decide that they wanna do this, I would like them to give me a copy of that certificate, and I'll scan it and attach it to your online application through Manage My Market. So if at any point in time, for some reason, if it got wet and blew away, or it falls off your stand or something, and someone from the state or wherever decides to come up and ask you about it, I'll be able to print one out and give it to them right away, or show it to them online, because I can pull that up on the iPad, and that way we can all work together on this.
Yeah, you don't know who, I've had people wearing dressed up, but they're checking it.
Oh, yes, of course, yes.
So that's the sampling update. Other updates for the group. At our last meeting, we talked about the change in the vendor fee schedule. I did receive some feedback about that, and want to make sure that the group is aware that if you ever have questions about Market at the Square revenue or expenditures, you're always welcome to view that through the City of Urbana financial reports. I put a link in the staff report to where you can find that. We have a place on the website that has that regularly updated, and you can search for Market at the Square, Farmers Market. It will come up that way, and you can see those.
So that's kind of like a public information thing that you
It's-
have to post.
It's for the entire City of Urbana, and then our specific revenues and expenditures, those line items are noted in there, so.
So if someone asked, I mean,
Yep.
I'm saying another market, they have to have it available.
If it's,
Correct.
well, since we're part of the City of Urbana, it's public, it's available to the public all the time through our open data portal. If there's another market that has a different type of organizational structure, if it's a nonprofit or if it's a private group, they may have a different way to report it or different criteria that I'm unsure about. I can find the answer for
You
you.
know what I'm talking about.
I do. I can find the answer for you if that's what you.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you.
Uh-huh. In addition, we, staff are beginning the process of drafting the Market at the Square budget for the next fiscal year 2016-2017, which begins on July 1st. Part of the budgeting process will include an effort to more accurately reflect staff costs, Market at the Square staff costs, and consider additional target marketing and promotions. And these steps are, the goal of all of this is to help grow the market and make it a sustainable and self-sufficient program in the city.
And I think it's important to emphasize the amount of marketing and promotion that you and your staff do, which benefits the entire market. And so vendors who are questioning the fees should also understand the amount of marketing that goes on behalf of the market as a whole.
No, that TV deal last year, was that a grant you got, I think, wasn't it?
For cooking and things like that?
You did a weekly thing or something?
It was kind of we negotiated some time on TV through a small advertising buy. So we did do some advertising on IllinoisHomepage.net, kind of as a
was
thank
thinking
you
you
for
got a
allowing
grant
us
for
to
that,
do
so.
that. There were expenses involved.
Right.
Common Ground threw in all of the dry goods, and then the market bought products, or products were donated by vendors to take on and cook on the program. But we had to buy all the equipment to cook because the kitchen it's a TV kitchen, there's no running water, and we had to carry the kitchen in and out every time we cooked.
I figured they'd have one.
No.
No, they have the oven and the stove, no
The
water.
fridge.
The
Yeah.
fridge, yeah. The important stuff, but like no pots and pans or knives or anything like that. So, but now that we have them, we can use them a lot, and even at the chef demonstration, so it was a good investment, I think. Also included in your packet is a sheet we put together with vendor benefits. It was drafted from some feedback from vendors in response to the change in vendor fees. And so I wanted to make sure that everyone knew that these are services
Okay.
available.
It's
Yeah.
right here. You're talking about this paragraph.
And then there's,
Oh,
it's halfway through the second.
Oh, it's stuck in the middle.
Well, yeah, it was like right here for me.
Oh,
Here we
here's
go.
on the back end. We're trying to use a lot of the same colors, so maybe it blended into the,
very end.
This one's it's on the back, last page, I think,
Yeah, right before.
of that section.
Yeah, right before you get to the grid.
okay.
There.
And
There.
these are all things that have been offered over the past 4 seasons. And we've usually, as developments happen, we put them in the weekly emails that we send out to vendor and community groups. And even sometimes, some of the newer community groups take advantage of some of these things too, if they have questions. But staff is available to meet if you have questions about marketing, social media, setting up your booth at the market. We've created banners all the way from design to fabrication at a discounted rate through a program with Dean's Graphics. And a lot of people have taken advantage of that over the past couple of years, including community groups. So if you ever have any questions, we're here to help with those things.
Natalie, how many vendors have you heard from about the fee increase?
2.
2, okay.
I know one
There's
of
both
them.
positive, right?
I know one of them.
What's that?
There's both
Just write
positive?
that text messages that.
Oh, I've only had 2 negative
Oh.
feedbacks regarding the, and no, well, I've only received 2 individuals with feedback.
No, who the other one was, I know who one of
Yeah.
them
So have I, because I got the same text.
was.
But I wanna make sure that we're being better at communicating all of our updates and changes and things like that, so. If you ever have any questions, my office is always open.
You just coined a new word, and it's Torbana.
Uh-oh.
No, I love it.
Where you see that at?
Under vendor benefits.
No,
Be-
yeah, right at the top.
Oh.
It's a great word. I love it.
We should pass that along to Visit Champaign County.
Yeah.
There we go.
That's funny.
This font really keeps the letters close together, so I have to triple space between words, and so, yeah,
Wow.
sorry about that.
No, that's serendipitous.
That's actually kind of, yeah, exactly. That's a good word for it.
So we needed to come up
Happy
with something.
accident.
Urbana. It's hard to use Urbana in some things, like we have Urbaners, those are our banners that hang from-
Curbana.
Yeah,
No, it's
Curbana.
Torbana.
Urbana, there we go, great. But I really would like to see more vendors take advantage of some of the things that we can help with if they want to, so. And we'll have more opportunities for radio and television for vendors that want to take part in that. And the majority of the time, they're free. Every once in a while, we'll have a radio person, Michelle Ryan from X94.5, that will do like a online thing with coupons and vouchers and things like that. And there is a cost for the vouchers redeemed for that, but otherwise, she'll go around and interview you and put it on the radio, and there's no cost to doing that. That's all part of the ad buy that we've negotiated with them. And she receives a small per diem from the market each month to buy products and then talk about them. So whether she fully interviews you and puts it on there, or just talks about how I purchased flowers from Kent and produce from John and Bob and meat from Stan, and she will do those types of things. Any other questions from the staff report?
I was just curious, Natalie, under staffing, it mentions attracting new vendors, and I was wondering what kind of outreach is done to attract new vendors every year.
Most recently, we've been trying to attract new vendors in the category of locally produced beer, wine, and spirits. I've handwritten letters, I've called. We have an appointment next week at a vineyard to ask if they would like to participate. So we've done a lot of recruiting in that, and working with the Illinois Grape Growers and Vintners Association to really emphasize that Urbana has this special temporary liquor license, and it's kind of unique for farmers markets, and so we've done some recruiting in that aspect. Otherwise, every season when we open up the application process, we sent out a press release to our regional media contacts, so more than just what's here in Champaign-Urbana, but in Southern Illinois and Northern Illinois, and to spread the word about that. But we've received 75 applications in 18 days, so there's not a whole lot of recruiting we do just for specific categories like your spirits. Yeah. New business?
New business?
New business. The survey closed, and as a, just to remind everyone about the survey, it was for community groups, patrons, and vendors. Ellen, do you want to give an update on the survey? I mean, it's laid out in the report. We do have 2 small errors that I will explain in a moment, but do you want to look
Yeah,
at how
sure.
many surveys and
Well, we ended up actually getting a few more vendor surveys. We ended up getting 41 or 42 answers, so it was certainly brought us a little bit closer to our goal of the 50, and we ended up with like 253 patrons and 8 community group survey results. So overall, I'd say it was successful with all the promoting we did through social media and all that other stuff. Everything we got, everybody, like I said last time, thought it's a community hub. Everybody likes it as a place to exchange ideas and meet with local communities and all that. And a lot of vendors liked it because it allowed them to kind of create a very close vendor-customer relationship with some people. As far as like changes and stuff, that kind of thing, a lot of patrons were wanting extended hours. People were saying how it ended too early, they could never get there in time. They said like an hour or 2 more would be good. Some people wanted a full-time throughout the year market with a permanent place. Other than that, it was bicycle parking they kind of wanted. Some people, the people were happy about the no more animals, no more dogs. That pleased a lot of people. And then everybody likes the local. Everybody actually on the question of what is local, I think that is somewhere here.
Page 6.
Page 6, yes, thank you. Yes, you can see an overwhelming amount, and this is patrons, vendors, community groups, say that local is within a 100-mile radius, and then the next one, which is between 74 and 15 within the state of Illinois. So most people view local as a within 100-mile radius of Urbana.
And the market's definition of local is actually state of Illinois.
right?
Okay.
And then travel time, vendors and patrons both are very, they seem to be also very close. Basically, it seems as though between 2 and 5 miles is the most common for patrons, and then vendors as well. Although vendors is slightly more different, yes?
Back on your comment, so then do we need to redefine that, or do we need to talk about it, or?
The definition of
Yeah.
local, that's something that we need to talk about.
Okay, so later.
Yes.
Okay.
And then other than that, patrons do view in-season fresh foods as very important when it comes to their purchasing of foods from the market. They find grown or produced locally or elsewhere in Illinois is important. They like natural, but they don't necessarily need certified foods. And I think that's pretty much hitting on all the most important things.
The 2 updates I had for you on page 7 under vendor travel time, the green pie is 21 to 50 miles, not 5 to 20 miles, so I'll update that.
The
I
green.
was gonna ask.
The green.
Okay.
Mhm.
21 to 50?
Yep. And then on.
The
pa-
blue is 5 to 20 still?
Yes.
Okay.
And then on page
Don't remember which one I answered.
8,
20 to 22.
there are, I copied and pasted and never updated. The second 72% should be 71% of Urbana's Market at the Square. Patrons strongly agree that it is a family-friendly place. So I will make those adjustments and send you all a new copy, and I can print it out for you if you'd like. So there's a couple of things that I think, in moving forward with potentially updating the strategic plan after receiving the survey results, there's some things that we need to think about. If the current goals that are outlined in the strategic plan, which is on page pages 5 and 6, if the survey results that we received, if they still affirm what the goals are laid out on the strategic plan. And we have the updated implementation matrix, which I passed along, and that was created as part of the strategic plan to identify how they were going to kind of carry out those goals. And some of the things that we've already accomplished, and some are going to be ongoing forever, for the life of the market. So that's something that we need to review and talk about, especially now that we have some feedback from the survey. We also need to decide if we want to redefine what the market's mission is. We talked a little bit about it at a few meetings ago, but do we want to keep it the same or change it? I think we also need to discuss what the definition of local means and be sure that we are including that in our application process and our promotions, and that it's well defined in our strategic plan.
Natalie, does it matter that I don't have any even number pages for the strategic plan?
I'm missing page 6
I have 5, 7, 9, 11, 13.
and you're right, every even one.
I don't have any even number pages.
Well, I can pull it up for you.
I hadn't quite gotten far enough to see that they were all.
She said, when she said 6, I was like, wait a minute. I don't have.
So is there anything on the back then?
No,
Page
you see it
7.
goes 1, 3, 5, 7, 9.
That's, of course, the one meeting that I need to have it for you.
Oh, do you?
No, we don't have it. We'll find it for you.
5 and 6.
So it actually, there is actual
Yeah.
even numbers, okay.
There's 10 goals.
Oh.
I'm missing some.
You're missing 7?
So every other-
Several.
Oh, several.
Yes.
Every other page is missing from your strategic
Oh,
plan.
there's some.
Um,
That's why my name was on it. She was trying to blindside
We're
me.
trying to save some paper.
Okay.
We did. We
Yes,
accomplished
you did.
that.
Stanley
It's all part of our
knows.
sustainability efforts, you know. So here are the 10 goals that were laid out in 2011. I think it's important to decide if we still agree with those goals, if we want to change them, add new, especially after receiving the survey results, going through the status of the implementation matrix.
one thought.
Yes.
And I've been thinking a lot about the definition of local, and I don't have a problem with keeping it made in Illinois, but we might want to refer to the regional food economy rather than local food economy, because really the market contributes to a fairly large region as far as where the vendors come from, where the food is grown, and maybe it's a more accurate reflection.
Meaning,
Local would probably drive more people than regional. With that, or
don't know where you're
customer
going with that.
thoughts.
Instead of fresh, healthy, local foods, or wait, I guess it's more in the statement, number 10, enhance the market's role in the local and regional food system.
Up here on the, we don't
I
have
can't see that with my glasses.
Page 6.
Sterling, would you mind making a copy of this and we'll get it to everybody? So, my only concern with adding regional on there is needing a definition for what regional means. And this is something that we've been talking about a lot with the Illinois Farmers Market Association, and those of us that are taking this certificate program are definitions. And folks kind of think regional means Illinois, Indiana, Michigan, Wisconsin, if you're in our area, but then if you go south, then that's Missouri, Kentucky, and
okay.
so regional is different depending on where you are at in the state.
Okay, I see that, okay.
Because we talk to our markets that are in southern Illinois, and their region includes, you know, the states surrounding them down
Yeah.
there. And then the Chicago markets, they pull vendors from Michigan and Wisconsin, right? It's just normal to find that.
We don't pull anybody from Indiana,
No.
so.
So you're talking vendors when you're talking about this definition, correct?
Of the products available at the market, the products that are showcased and available for purchase, and where the vendors grow, make, create those items. And we've always just had the definition as within the state of Illinois,
As local, okay.
Illinois made, Illinois grown. And I'm unsure why it started that way. I could research it back or ask the
It was
previous
to keep
directors.
Indiana out.
Well,
That's why it was originally
and
done
I'm,
that way, because Indiana is less than 100 miles away.
right,
And it was to keep out
50
produce
miles.
from Indiana.
okay.
I was there during the meetings,
Oh,
No.
got it.
so
And the
it
other
was a
thing,
fight.
And that was,
Because we had people from Indiana, bunch of people from Indiana just bringing stuff in, dumping it in here at that time,
product.
yes.
So then it begs the question, and you know, probably because it was at the meeting in Chicago, about saturation in the markets and how much product do you need and how much competition do you don't need to protect your people. I mean, this all is intertwined in this whole local definition is where I'm going with this. So we leave Indiana out because we don't want to come in. Well, maybe there's a bunch of others. I'm just use peaches as an example. Peach growers coming in too. So where does this all? I mean, it lands on your plate because you're the market manager, but I don't think local is good enough as far as the definition for myself. As this thing grows, and 20 years ago or whenever we started, or you started a lot longer than I did, there wasn't many farmers out there, but this is
No.
changing.
Mhm.
This is changing. So if nobody does anything good at the market, what have you accomplished?
Right.
You know what I'm talking about. There's a lady that, I can't remember what, 87th Street Market or whatever up there. She gave a presentation. So I think we need to look, I'm not saying what to do, I'm just saying I think we need to look at it.
Well,
It
that's,
is
that's why we're here. I mean, you're the advisory board and you're here to help advise staff and work with us to help.
Because local's changed, I guess is what I'm saying. It's changed. And that's, everything changes in life. So I don't know if that's good or bad, but local don't mean what it meant 15 years ago.
Well, I mean, when we surveyed all the participants involved, I was a little bit surprised that they said that local was within 100 miles.
Do you-
Because
Do you think that's steered by the co-op and their definition of local?
They don't have a definition,
Well, they do.
but they don't enforce it.
Well, I think, yeah,
And they're buying Miller chicken from Indiana.
right. What?
So,
So they have a
Case
local.
closed.
They have a local definition, and then they have a regional, and then they have stuff that they fill their shelves with.
That was a poor example, I think, but
But they do. They mark their stuff in their store as local. So your farm should be marked as local. My farm should be marked as local, and that is defined by 100 miles. Regional is defined in their store by states. So I guess that is my question: are these customers being, because that's the local
If they're
definition.
okay, I see what you're saying, but we can't compare the two because a farmer's market is not common ground.
Correct. But
Okay, okay.
that's what I'm saying is the customer's viewpoint steered because they shop at Common Ground and they see that 100-mile thing, so they're thinking local definition to them means 100-mile because.
Well, even in other grocery stores, not Common Ground, I'm thinking of some examples that I've seen at presentations, like by the Farm Bureau. They had folks from Mariano's come in and other grocery stores up in northern Illinois, and they have these signage that says locally grown, and then it's a picture of the Midwest
Yeah.
above the vegetables
That's
or whatever it
extreme.
is.
Farm
But,
Bureau's extreme.
I mean, but they were showing a picture of a mainstream grocery store that, I mean, we don't have it here, but, and I don't know, like County Market and Schnucks, and we might need a couple more.
Okay.
Because everybody's
One for
jumping on the
everybody,
back
yeah.
bandwagon.
Yeah.
And so what I think is most important for our market is that we decide what our definition is gonna be for local. I think maybe one for regional too, if we decide local means something different than within the state of Illinois, and we stick to it and we make sure that we, we educate our consumers and our vendors, and we carry it out in our applications and we stick to it. And it's a guiding factor in approving applications from vendors coming to market.
Well, 91% of the vendors are within 100 miles right now, according to this survey. Well, the answer.
That's
to
the ones that
survey.
responded.
Yeah, that's true. So that's
I think somebody said the only ones responded was 5 years and less or something. None of the old timers responded or something. I don't know.
Hey, I responded.
Did you?
If you use a
No,
100-mile
no, no.
criteria, that would include Indiana.
It would have to be 100 miles within Illinois, if,
That's the tough
It's an
thing.
oval.
I know that
Yeah.
the Champaign Farmers Market defines local as within 150 miles, is that what it is?
I don't know if it's been set yet,
It-
that I've been told.
They originally told me 100 miles, but
100 miles. I know it was 100 or 150 with the exception, well, yes.
So the goal of defining the mileage for local is for exclusion of vendors that are outside of that.
If that's
Well,
what
you
you're
know, I-
advising
you
staff.
probably can't
I-
kick the ones out that are here, but not allow
But-
any more.
I think it's irrelevant. I think you need to manage the market more on who's here and who's not here and by product.
Yeah, your vineyards are gonna be, aren't they more in southern Illinois?
Because if you're wanting, and now we have cheese, but say 10 years ago we did, Wes and Leslie wasn't here. Well, if you had to go to Wisconsin, just as an example, for a cheese vendor, then you had to go to Wisconsin. My definition of local is as far as you gotta go to get it. That's my definition. And if you've got 3, 4 peach vendors here, or whatever the market can take, then you don't need any more local peach vendors or any peach vendors. Period.
It's true.
It's I hate to bring this up, but this is the time. It's just hard facts. If people ain't making money, then you don't have a healthy market.
Sure.
So perhaps we, don't
Because
need
you-
to change what the definition
That's
of local
exactly
is.
what
I don't
about
think
to
you
say.
should.
But we need to decide
Right.
if there is
Correct. That's where I'm
a
going. Thank
need
you.
for setting,
Quotas.
yes.
Yes,
Yes.
that's exactly
And that's
what
a
I was
tough
gonna say.
job.
Yeah, but that's the
So
number
it's
of.
not the
each product.
definition, like you said,
That's-
but do we say only
5 whatever it is, meat vendors can come in, and once we've met that.
I think it's a floating, let's use food trucks for an example. It's a floating number, you know, and you don't know it till you achieve it. But you have to have trust to your vendors and trust the market manager that's gonna make the right, it's tough. I'm not saying it's an easy job, but if we're tweaking this thing, I wanna get this out here while we're doing it, you know. But I'm not worried about the definition so much, as what happens people coming in. You know, because obviously the one week we had too many food trucks, nobody made any money.
Right.
You know, and that was just an accident or something, I forget what happened, but anyway. You know, and it's tough to say, no, you can't come.
So you're saying there was a week where there was too many food trucks and it still affected?
No, it didn't affect me.
Oh,
I'm not
you're
wanting to
saying
use
for the
me.
food.
I want to use somebody else as an
Okay.
example.
Well, I just didn't know for some reason if
No.
it did, but it made more
I'm
sense
using
that it.
peaches and I'm using,
Okay.
yeah, I know. You want to talk meat? Let's, no. I'm trying to use someone else's example.
Okay,
Can't
okay.
the food trucks just drive away? I don't.
And go somewhere else and make some money?
Well, they've got, this is a unique opportunity to make, you've got a captive audience. You've got people coming in and they're saying, like they go in a store, you know, it's different. They come to farmer's market, they're going to spend money. It's who they spend their money with. They've done said, I'm going to spend money here. So you've got a different type of audience, customer.
But the food trucks have to reserve a space, and once all the spaces are gone, then that's it,
I don't know what happened
right?
that week, but I just know there was just too dang
So-
many, you know. But there's just a freak deal. But what I'm saying is you need
Communicating
to.
with vendors is an art within itself.
No,
So-
I get it. That's why.
If emails are sent and phone calls are made, and then all of a sudden, everyone that has a food truck shows up on the same day and starts driving in, and what I'm hearing from the advisory board is that there are certain times when we have reached what we consider to be our limit, and the water is overflowing.
Right.
Right.
And so now that we have done that in a few categories of products, we have learned some things. And so now I'm looking to you to guide me as your market manager and figure out how we can implement this as part of the strategic plan update, if that's where it belongs. If this is an administrative change, perhaps it doesn't apply to the strategic plan, and it's just something that needs to happen as from the administrative point of,
I think the latter.
I think it's administrative.
Right.
because it's going to be really, there's going to be a lot of things that come up
Right.
that are going to be administrative.
Right.
That need to be reflected in the
This
application
is a-
process, that
yeah.
need to be reflected in the approval process, and managing the week-to-week
Right.
tasks of the market. And I am completely open to hearing those.
So are we talking about putting numbers on categories of vendors?
That's what
Is
it
that what
sounds
you're kind
like.
of talking?
Well, I don't say in a strategic plan. I think
No,
that's a
but-
big picture thing that, you know, kind of everybody feels good about, you know.
Mhm.
And it sets, I don't mean that in a bad way, but your details has to happen there, or
Right.
the market manager.
Right.
Because this thing, like you know, changes every week, every month, like she says, if people don't answer their emails, well, what the heck are you gonna do? So,
Or phone,
or whatever.
but they're disconnected.
Well, like, say this year, they fill out their application, we'll go to Peaches. And we've got.
There's no peach vendors here, so we can do that.
Well, Bob's got Peaches.
Oh, okay.
Still got 600 trees.
Okay.
But, so,
Oh, I do have one.
they're filling out their applications of what they're going to be bringing. And you start going through the applications, and you've got already 10 people that got peaches listed. Are they all going to be able to bring their peaches, or do we have to, even though they're bringing lettuce and cucumbers and tomatoes with the peaches?
If you want an example on peaches, we used to sell 250 boxes on a Saturday morning. Now we're lucky if we can sell 80.
What year was that? When was that?
Oh, from 2007 and before. And Jeff's the same way. Jeff and I talk about it all the time. He won't plant any more trees. Of course, Jeff's pretty much out now this year.
Is it because of the Southern
Ben's
Illinois?
taking over.
Locals changed. This whole thing
But
has
it's
changed.
because,
We
yes,
pulled out
it's because,
Chicago because locals changed up there. So, you know, as a business, we looked at our market and where we're focusing on. the whole thing's changing. That's why it's brought up here, because it's changing. And so we just need to acknowledge that, and if we're doing about it, fine. If not, because it's a tough decision. How do you say you can't come to somebody if there's a spot there?
I mean, these are very big decisions
Yes.
that could, I mean, that have taken a while to build up to this point.
Right.
So if there is a change made, that could affect the layout and the makeup and the diversity of vendors coming to market and products at market.
No, I get it. No, I understand.
And then there could be a point where we're trying to play catch up.
To answer your question on peaches, yes, it is because Southern Illinois peaches.
No.
Because you've got about 3 or 4 bringing Southern Illinois peaches up, and they'll always be there first, because we can't get ahead of them up here. And people are creatures of habit. They get something that they like, they're gonna go back to that person. They won't try anybody else's. And the only honest peach grower from Southern Illinois that I know actually said that he's glad his peaches are ready before ours, because ours are better. They're grown on better ground. He's the only person I've ever heard admit that. And there is somebody still bringing his peaches up.
That's another whole.
So,
The creatures of habit thing also goes for you want to stay in the same spot every week. You move 2 spots, somebody forgets where you're at.
Mhm.
They don't find you.
Yeah.
It's always been that way.
I didn't mean to open a can of worms, but it is what it is.
so are we then comparing peaches to peaches, as it were? Or are we saying we need the percentage of our farmer's market, we need this percentage to be not vegetable growers, but growers?
No, we need
We need-
to be very specific.
So you need peaches to peaches.
Mhm.
I think we need to talk about the type of product that grower brings, because sometimes we have, like Bob, he has a variety of different products.
Mhm.
But then the peach vendors that come up, that's all they're selling. They're here for
Right.
4 or 6 weeks and then they're
Some
gone.
apples,
Mhm.
too.
So-
Or you
yeah,
can use
some of
tomatoes as an example.
Sure.
Right.
You
Oh,
know,
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
you know, everybody can
Really
raise a
there.
tomato. You want to take it one step further. The part-timers versus the ones making a living in it. You know, you got somebody got 20 tomato plants in their backyard. They come in for 2 or 3 weeks and they kill the market because they're undercutting with Bob. Somebody's doing it for a living. You know, I see what you're saying, because we bring multiple products. So you know, I
And I talk to new vendors about that. I have folks call and they're like, well, I have this, I'm interested in applying, and so I'll say, well, you know, the market has vendors that sell this product. I want you to be aware of that. There are this many vendors that have this type of product available. What other products do you have? Are there other things that you could bring that would be your primary product, and perhaps this would be, you know, your secondary product, or just something else that you would offer, but your primary reason for being there is selling this, this, and this, and then maybe some peaches on the
But
side
the
or
way it
something
works
like that.
with the vendor is if you can bring something else to make another buck, you're gonna bring it, because the fuel's already there. Your main product, you know, like with us is meats, and, you know, if I'm gonna bring something else, you know, I'll make $5, that's $5.
Right.
So, you know, you're gonna,
And then he takes my $5,
well, this is, so, no, but I mean, he's right.
but that's,
Right.
yeah.
So I don't know, I'm just bringing it up. I don't know what the answer is, because it's a fine line.
And I'm
Mhm.
pulled in a couple of different directions beyond this, in that I don't want to have big gaps in the market, because then folks complain, customers
No,
complain.
I get it.
Is the market, is it struggling? Is it hard to find vendors to come? Like, why is there this open space? And then I have people that come and they'll squat in a space, and then I have to go kick them out, because I don't know who they are, or where they've come from, or what they're doing. And then I don't want to turn someone away that wants to give it a shot, whether it's making something, growing something, or being there. If they have gone through the process of obtaining their business tax number, of going through some type of business counseling, or working with me to get to this point, and they just want to test the market, not farmer's market, but market for that product. I mean, that's one of the reasons I think why the city has this, is it's economic development. It gives that business person an opportunity to try to sell something without the huge expense of a brick and mortar business.
It's an incubator.
It definitely is an incubator.
This year, I think you're gonna have a lot more people trying to do that too.
And we had last year.
Beans is-
And actually, I don't like to talk about pricing. I don't think that I belong in pricing, but I want to let you know that there is a study that was just released from University of Illinois Extension. Deborah Kavanaugh Grant was the head of it. You can find it. I'll send you a link to it. But it's fashioned after the University of Kentucky, and for the past 2 years, there's been representatives at, I think it's 18 different farmers markets in the state, and they were writing down prices of products.
I wouldn't give them to
And
them.
they compare it.
I've seen a lot of them.
So I'm
walking
just-
around Writing stuff down.
I'm not going to comment on it. I'm just
Because
letting you
Steve
know.
Ayers was doing it here in
Probably
Champaign.
the
I mean,
highest here. This is probably the highest one in the area.
But I told him it's
I haven't
crap.
opened it yet. It just came out on
I'll bet it is.
Tuesday, Monday or Tuesday, but I've referred to it for vendors that have come in and had questions about,
Because saturation is good for the customer.
Right.
So, you're fighting two battles.
and I have a
You
vendor that
protect your
says
vendor, you protect
competition
your-
is good too, because she's the only person at market that sells this specific product, and their sales their first year here were great. The sales their second year were not that great.
Right.
And she shared with me her numbers and spreadsheets over the years with vendors. Maybe 1 or 2 other vendors have ever done that. And so I was like, what can we do to help you if you want to continue to come to the market? And so we've talked about a couple of things to try to help them out. And so she said, I want you to go out and actively recruit other vendors that sell this product so that the customer has a choice.
You just don't want.
That don't
many
make
of them.
sense.
She wants
No.
she wants to
Choice.
make sure that there's an opportunity
Yeah.
to try a couple of different things so they'll know to compare, oh, this is
And they find out that she's better because of what she does. That
Well,
goes like with, if you
No,
sell
I
meat,
mean,
people buy,
I get it, but, her example, the first few years, that's everybody, because you saturate your own market. I mean, that's just common sense. Everybody comes to you as new, and your sales are gonna be 3-4% increase every year, but once you saturate your own market, then the only people you attract is new people to the market, which I told you this last year. We had more people, new people to the market than I've ever seen since I've been here. Because I always make a point to ask a new face, hey, because I shame them in it for not being there, but before. But no, we've had more new people, and I directly relate it and have no proof of your cooking things you did on Thursdays, whatever, because it made people aware of the market, and it brought new people to the place.
I don't know if it still is, but it used to be, they said 25% of Urbana was new every year in Champaign. People moving in now. That's from when you.
Well,
us or-
maybe
I don't know
people,
if it's
but-
exclusive to Urbana, but Champaign
Champaign
Urbana.
and Urbana.
Yeah,
The
but
university,
we
I
don't
don't
get
know
25% new
others.
people to the market.
Right. Well, you get quite a few new ones every year.
So
I don't know, I just wanted to bring it up. I don't want to beat a dead
we've
horse.
talked about some of the market's strengths. We've talked about some of the market's weaknesses. Are there opportunities? Are there some threats that we need to talk about? Are there? I want
Threats
us to.
to what?
However, I mean, some of the things we've talked about have been threats to individual vendors.
I'm nervous about this sampling thing. Just telling you, I just know the way humans are. It just takes one mistake, and we're in trouble. I don't know.
Who's in trouble though?
Yeah,
If
what do you
somebody
mean?
gets in trouble.
Everybody involved in the local foods, because there's
It would hurt the whole market, I'm sure.
right, because there's forces out there like CS Go Away. Your big companies and that. Early years, we didn't make a dent in their sales, but local, we're using the word local now, but it's making a dent. That's why everybody, Hy-Vee and all of them have their token farmers in there. So, one black eye, Walmart can sell tin and meat all day long and not get in trouble. It happens here at the market or something. If I mess up or but give a sample away that's something wrong, it's going to put a black eye on everybody.
If someone gets sick and they don't remember where they got that sample from, they're going to say that they were ill because of something they ate at
And it's probably
Urbana's
going to be
Market
me
Square.
because if
No,
I'm
they're gonna
serving,
say
because they're going to
everybody.
point at me first, and they don't think of vegetables, which Look how many vegetables, they come from Mexico, I'm not blaming our guys here, but it's got fecal material on 'em because, you know, that's the way they wash them. And so, you know, E. coli spreads out, you know, but if they get, I'm taking the time out.
Oh, no, it's telling me I needed to move. I've
Oh.
been sitting for too long.
Okay. But you see what I'm saying? It just makes me nervous. I'm excited about it, don't get me wrong. Just crossing my fingers.
So I want to mention that what your concern is also shared by others. And actually, one of the things that I've been working on is some crisis management for the market. And I'm not talking about there's the potential for weather or thunderstorm.
No, I
Like,
know
we
what
have a plan for that, heaven forbid. But we do have a plan for that. But a plan for the potential of someone getting sick from something that was purchased and consumed.
So you think they'd be better off
There.
not to give samples?
No, because I think it's a great idea.
Well, it's not gonna stop. It's the sampling law is in place and
Right.
it's going. And I think sampling is one of the best ways to market
Right,
a product.
no.
Because think about Wes and Leslie with Prairie Fruits, and they talked about it in their movie, which we screened on Tuesday at the. But I mean, it's goat cheese, and a lot of people are like, goat cheese. But then once they try it, but it's really good.
Right.
And there's some cuts of meat that you have, like the time I served tacos de lengua, I didn't tell anybody there was tongue until after they ate it and told me how much they liked it. So I mean,
That was a smart move.
don't knock it till you try it.
I just,
But-
I just know how things go. and
Yes.
So I think that's smart to have a plan in place.
But that's an added responsibility on market staff
Right.
now, because you're not gonna have someone from public health,
Right.
local, walking around and checking these things. And
Right.
so that's why I wanna know who's gonna be sampling, I wanna have a copy of it, and so that Sterling's gonna take the test, I'm gonna take the test, we're gonna have other people on staff that will have gone through this process, so that we know what to look for when we go around and check people in. I mean, it's just something else that has fallen on our plate, but we're gonna try our best.
And the fact that people know you're looking over your shoulder is gonna kind of help some.
I'm gonna put my mean face on.
Well, I mean, yeah, but you know.
I don't think you have one.
I was about to say the same.
You know that I do. All right. I wanna keep us timely, but I also know that we have some things to talk about. So let's go back to local. I think we should keep the definition as within the state of Illinois. I think that it falls within some big campaigns that are going to be coming out in the next few weeks promoting made in Illinois products. And I think that we can use that to our advantage and ride off of that wave of promotion and marketing. As an example, the director of Illinois Tourism spoke at the conference yesterday, and I didn't know what he was going to talk about. I mean, I did, but I didn't know exactly what he was going to talk about. And he went up there and he used Urbana's Market as his example and pulled stats about visitors and vendors and showed pictures of all of your products in front of everybody. And he's launching this huge campaign called Made in Illinois that's being unveiled in a couple of weeks starting in Springfield. So I'd like to kind of ride that wave of some free media and exposure to potentially get more visitors to our market. That is, visitors that buy things at the market, not just come. But that's my 2 cents if it means anything in regards to the definition of local. In regards to products and the makeup of the market, I think that those are some administrative changes, and Paris is in charge of the indoor markets, and so if maybe we can work together to make those changes across the board so that it's consistent amongst all markets in Urbana.
What's the measurable, I mean, how are we going to measure what's too much and not enough?
I have no idea.
Go at the market at 12 o'clock. So much for produce, you can't for me because we put it back in the truck, but you look and see what they're, and I don't mean in peak season, you know, because you're gonna have peak seasons of tomatoes, peak seasons of sweet corn and stuff like that, and peaches, but, and this, I think it's just a feeling. It's the market manager, some will have it and some won't, but just walking around and just using your eyes and common sense. You know, they bring a full truck and take home a full truck, something not right. But not during peak season, because, you know, it's just, every vegetable has its peak.
Yeah.
You know, and like Bob said, the early one, and that's why, you know, it's best to be early if you can, because
Right.
customers are creatures of habit. But I don't think there's an answer to it. I just wanted to bring it up because it was on my mind, and, you know, and it's just something you're aware of, I guess.
I mean, what if we look at it from another perspective of helping vendors better promote themselves and their products? I mean, would that help a customer decide? I mean, you walk into a grocery store and there's like 18 different of the same kind of cereal. Just the first example that came to mind. It depends on where it's placed, what it looks like, how it's packaged. I mean, there's a lot of studies out about displays and how it's sold, and, you know, the interaction the customer has when they walk up to the booth and when they talk to the person, and the type of information out there. I mean, there's things that I can do as Market at the Square staff to help.
But
I
that,
don't
the
know.
vendor has to reach out.
We don't allow vendors to walk around with samples, correct?
Mm-mm. You have to stay within your area.
Say, here's what a good peach tastes like.
As I stand in front of the other peach trees.
No.
Oh.
There was an old boy years ago, it's pre your
man.
time, but they sold blueberries, you remember,
Mhm.
they had it nailed. That old man, he was retired, he wasn't getting paid. He walked around with his little quart cup of blueberries, and
Yeah.
man, they just flocked to them guys. He walked, I mean, he was brilliant. Because we tried a few times, we'd have somebody, a plant up front, and saying how good our product is, and the person next to him say, oh, really, you know, so. He ain't supposed to
Not
do
supposed to do that.
it. Just want to see it, how it works.
Yeah.
I'm just,
And I didn't pay him.
oh, okay. I'm just putting
Let's get
that,
straight.
Yeah.
I'm just throwing that out there
No, I get it.
as another,
And it's,
Another
you know,
example.
and I figured, you know, it's, at the end of the day, it's gotta be the free market system. Because you start, you know, it's a slippery slope.
I rarely turn vendors away if there's space at the market.
Well, that's another thing. If you got a spot and you say, well, you can't come, well, what's that spot doing over there?
Right. As long as the vendor has the appropriate credentials, then I will, and we have space available.
I mean, I definitely appreciate it. Like, when new growers come to me for advice and they say, oh, I'm so excited about Swiss chard, I'll tell them, well, don't sell it at the Bannock Market at the Square because you won't be able to sell a bunch of Swiss chard. You just can't. And they're like, but I love it. It's okay, well, then you're going to waste your money, your time growing that product when you could bring something else. I mean, as a new grower, being in the back sucks. You know, when it's August, September, and you're at the height of the season, and you have all this produce, but it's too hot, and customers aren't walking to the back of the market. You know, that's really rough for a new grower, and you're taking that stuff home. But I totally appreciate if Natalie told me, oh my God, don't bring any tomatoes. Great. You know, if I was on my own this year, there are things that I know now I would not be bringing to the market because I can't sell a single one of them. So, I think if, I don't know, hindsight, but as a vegetable grower, my sales weren't good enough at the market to be sustainable, I guess. So as a new grower, if there was even a spot available, would I still attend there? I don't know.
When you say back of the market, mean toward the east?
Yeah.
All 200 vendors want to be in the first row.
No.
Yeah. They
No,
do.
I
they
like
do.
what I want.
Okay, all 199 vendors.
I really don't want to be the
Yeah.
first two either.
198. Take it, you guys. You're ruining this.
I'm happy.
No, everybody wants. Of the 75 applications I've received so far, there's a comment box underneath.
And I comment on that, I didn't mean to use that finger, I comment on that too. And you know what I said, so.
There's everybody wants to be in the spot between Bob and Queen Anne's Lace. There's a spot right there. I'm not gonna put
Ain't gonna
anybody
be a
there.
spot there. And I
No.
already heard that there wasn't now.
Um,
Is that what I-
Everybody wants to be in the very first row, and so I've tried to push variety back there and move people around. And I'm not gonna try to have a pity party here, but like I just have to hang up and do deep breathing exercises and move on because it's hard to go through that. I mean, you all know the importance of maintaining a spot at the market that's consistent, and I offer those to the vendors that commit to the whole year, that I know have a good track record of being there every year. Because I don't want people walking through the empty spots through the back of somebody's space because there was a no-show or an empty spot on the other side. You've got your personal stuff back there. I don't want people walking through there. I mean, I'll walk through there, but I don't want other people walking through there.
Yeah.
In the June, July, and August, we're like, part of September, we're packed in there like sardines. It's the waiting list.
Move on.
One of the other big takeaways from this, I believe, is people want more
Or what?
hours, times, days,
Seating areas.
seating areas. So for seating areas, we're going to put in another seating area over at the other side. The Arbor Division is updating the southeast corner of the market around the Lincoln Square sign. At the corner of Green and...
Down by Stanley.
Yep, over there.
Does the tree go? The bushes?
Yeah,
The sign.
sign stays.
No.
Lincoln Square has no plans for the sign at this time. But Arbor's gonna put the same crushed, what is that? Gravel
No.
that's at the other end down there, and we ordered a couple more tables, and then we'll order a couple more once the new fiscal year starts. I kind of staggered it. We'll steal one from the other side so that we have an equal number, and then put some more out there. So that'll add some more seating on that edge of the market. Those are really the only two places that we've got the space to do it without obstructing parking, which is rented out during the week, Monday through Friday, and the configuration of the parking lot. So
You don't want everybody sitting. You can't get new customers if everybody's sitting in that seat.
So at least we have the seating thing. And in regards to more days, more times, we've talked about the time, 2 years ago we talked about adding time. The feedback that I received was not significant enough to extend the market.
All you
day.
do is walk the market at 12 o'clock, ain't nobody there. Yeah, there's a few people.
Well, that's
There's-
because when some people start driving through, they,
Oh,
How's that?
that's not smart too, but that and it's extended season too. There's nobody there in October, November. I mean, there's a few, but not,
Right.
it's just,
years ago, that market used to go to about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And we had a lot of people there.
You had them
Used
after
to.
12 o'clock?
Yeah.
But
They
I,
used to go to sometimes 4 o'clock.
Really?
We wouldn't. get
That's a
right
long
back
day.
up.
to
Yeah.
be better.
But it was better days too,
Yeah.
but.
there's a lot of competition for people on Saturday. I'm not talking about vendors, but customers. When we get into certain parts of the year, when you advise back in
Especially
session,
when
and
the ball
there's
games start.
there's athletic events and family events that take
tailgates
place
are
on
great. They
Saturday.
hit the meat man up.
But maybe there's other ways that we can think about expanding the market that do not include longer days or
I.e.
longer seasons, but perhaps working together, two organizations working together to
combine our efforts and,
In what way?
well, on my end, as far as like holiday market and middle market go, I actually want to rebrand it into one, and not necessarily just one for the UBA, but market as together. We haven't figured out exactly how we want to do this yet, but
Yeah.
so people recognize it as
Right.
one year-long market, and they get used to doing that
Makes sense.
all
yeah.
year long.
Yeah.
And so it's not. You
You have to
see many
re-educate
markets
the
that
people.
see exactly. So it's going to be a rebranding
Right,
and
that's
marketing
good,
of, honestly, of the UBA's indoor market.
Right.
And so I think us partnering up on the outside for everybody and rebranding it so people do see it as one all year long market is going to help everyone.
Start early, don't start in October.
No, this is starting now. we've been.
I didn't mean that towards you, but in the past, you know, you get a flyer October 31st.
I know.
What?
Yeah, no, it's definitely because it's gonna take a lot of planning and marketing concepts to put that together, and I would like to have it done by the time the outdoor starts or towards the beginning of it, so we can start marketing it at that time. And not just at the market, but I would be
Right.
marketing it with outside efforts, with some UBA, marketing dollars as well.
And that also goes for combining efforts on maintaining,
Yeah, on the admin side as well.
The what?
on the admin side, so maintaining,
So
the
our
same
handbooks
rules
and
and
regulations would be the
regulations.
same. Whatever we could do to make it seem like one market for the vendors and the community, even though it's being handled separately, I think would be, very good for everybody involved.
Yeah.
And it'd be easier on us too. So,
Right.
I get cancellations all the time for her market.
yeah.
And I have to forward them over, hopefully they get it.
And then we'll get a call for yours, so,
Mhm.
yeah.
So now, that's still gonna happen because there's two organizations, but we're gonna combine efforts to, on the customer end and on the vendor end to make it feel a little bit
Mhm.
more unified
Yeah.
and better branded and promoted.
So,
That's good. I like that.
So maybe that's a way to speak to the customers wanting more or a
Right.
year-round
No, exactly.
market.
That's
Mhm.
you're doing it right
That's-
there.
That's a way,
Right.
that's one way
It's
to
pretty
do
much
it.
seamless.
mhm.
Yeah.
Do we need to add a rep from the food truck sector to this advisory board?
I sent all of this information to two different food truck vendors that have expressed interest in participating and invited them to be here today. One was out of town and I'm not sure the other one was available at this date and time. So my goal by the time the next meeting comes around is that we have gone to council with an amendment to the ordinance creating an additional seat on the board and adding that specific to a food concession vendor, mobile food vendor. So they're on there.
I forgot to ask last meeting, are you moving them or are they staying in the same spot?
They'll be in the same spot for this season. There won't be as many though.
Was there talk about putting on the west side,
Um,
on the street?
there's no electricity over there. That's the biggest factor.
Okay.
I received feedback from food trucks saying that's great because they can just pull in and leave, but then I received some feedback from vendors that said, well, that is one of the big draws in getting people to walk to the back of the market is the fact that they're back there. They're also bookend between the
Got a
two
point.
sets of tables.
Because Kelly brings me to this, you got a point there.
I
Yeah.
mean, that is one way to get
We'd never
people
get
back.
anybody over there, yeah.
No, I mean,
So,
Yeah,
um,
interesting.
that's where we're at. So I have a question for the group. Do you want to meet again before the next regularly scheduled meeting, which is in April, the 4th, the last Thursday in April, to talk more about the strategic plan, about the goals, Do you want me to find a facilitator to come, because I'm not I am not a professional facilitator for strategic planning, but I can source one to come, if that would be helpful. Are there updates that need to be made? I really want to make sure our goals are still relevant, and that our mission is still the mission. Those are important components.
I do think we should have another meeting.
What was the April date?
22nd?
Thursday.
21st?
22nd.
No, that's Friday.
Oh, so this is wrong?
Yeah,
Okay.
unless my phone's wrong.
I was racing last week. I'm very sorry for the errors.
I noticed at the last meeting, but I didn't want to say anything.
Oh, well, I was racing that week too, Kent, I'm sorry. The 28th of April.
28th?
Oh.
Would
So
you,
it's supposed to be the 28th. Okay.
So our next board is the 28th?
Mhm.
Okay.
The 21st.
Do you want me to find a facilitator to be better about asking the tough questions?
I think if we're gonna meet again, that's a good idea. Because I feel like we might
To do
just
it
go
right.
through the same thing. We'll just go through this again.
Well, I wanted to just, this meeting to present the survey results and have
Yeah.
an opportunity to kind of talk about some of these things. After the last meeting, the survey wasn't closed yet, so we
Yeah.
didn't really have anything to offer you, with the exception of like, this is where we're at the moment. So,
I'm interested to see why only 55% of patrons felt that it was welcoming to all people. 45% didn't feel that way.
that's a good question. I don't know how to answer that.
Okay, I didn't know if it was one like where people could write in, or
It was,
What's the
Like-
question?
there's only 55% of people feel it's welcoming to all people.
I noticed that too.
Why? Why?
do you,
I don't know what that means.
Well, I do know, when like the patrons were talking, they were asking for more diversity. They said that they didn't feel like it was a very diverse crowd.
You lost me.
Diversity in which way?
I don't,
Produce or-
they didn't,
Produce or humans?
no, I think humans, I think. What? That's what they made it sound like.
Yeah, because there was
Okay.
something over here
Well,
that said that they wanted
If
more.
you look at it for humans, yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
It is. It's a little one-sided.
Yeah.
Well, that's not our fault.
No,
I'm
Yeah,
lost.
good Asians.
I'm naive.
It's predominantly
white.
white people
there's
that
this-
attend and
White vendors.
white vendors and also customers.
Right.
It's predominantly. The market is predominantly white.
You got sunglasses on?
Because here's a
You
comment that
never
says more
did
black
another-
owners.
Yeah.
Owners.
Get away from there. This has got to be the most diverse community I've ever been. And I'm sheltered, don't get me wrong.
Well,
but I live south. You don't talk white.
well,
Given the demographics of the community, I think it's not
Yeah.
necessarily reflected in the market patrons. That might be part of it.
Really?
yeah.
That's the way.
Look at the income distribution of the patrons. It's expensive to shop at the market.
See, you know, I'm gonna beat you down on that because one, I need to educate you on your cooking because it ain't that expensive per serving if you do it right. But two, you know, I have all income. I get beat up on that all the time. Well, you only sell rich people. No, we don't. I have people use 50% of their income they buy from me, and I feel guilty.
here's the,
So
I spend a fortune at the market every week. I'm a
compared to
huge
what though?
shopper. What?
I'm not being hard on you, but
I know.
I didn't want to see.
this is something that
she
comes
touched a
up,
hot spot there.
well, but this is something that comes up across all farmers markets in the state, with the exception of a couple, for the most part, this is a common question. I mean, it came up,
Is it expensive?
No,
the
diversity.
diversity.
Or the diversity, okay.
Of the market.
Mm.
And so, the person that asked that question said, well, all the pictures that you showed, I only see one, type of person in the photos. And the guy said, well, you know, I think that we need to do a better job at educating the public on what's available and not try to break down any barriers that come along with shopping at a farmer's market, help educate customers on how to use the products that are there, because the carrots are gonna have some dirt on them and they're not cut with the tops off in a bag, washed and ready to eat, or they are packaged differently, and how to work with
It's
food
not a box
like
of
that.
mac and cheese.
No, it's not. And the other thought that someone else piped up and said that America is used to the culture of buying as much as you can for as little as you can, big bulk food, and it's not about quality more, it's about quantity. So
we
then we
can't-
went into this huge discussion and everybody got cut off because it just.
Escalated.
Mhm. So these questions and comments and concerns, I've been hearing those, and
More recently than before?
yeah. Well, because we're becoming better organized at getting to know about other farmers markets and what they're doing and working together to try to make it better for everybody.
Are those categories strongly agree, somewhat agree?
Yeah.
Okay, so 85% strongly or somewhat agree that it's welcoming. I mean, the two, if you add the two together.
See, I don't want to get into things. I don't see colors, I don't care.
That was a good point, though, if you add those two together.
Yeah, that makes it
makes
a
a
little bit
huge
better,
difference,
instead
yeah.
of like, whoa. That's a big, yeah.
Okay.
Is there a date where you'd like me to have someone come and lead the group?
Thursdays
in a-
look good for me.
You want to do the fourth Thursday and, oh, that's the third Thursday? Oh, that's St. Patrick's Day. Not, I mean, you guys are.
Are you gonna
that
party
kind
up
of
on St. Patty's Day?
thing. Like go home with my kids? No.
Wait, what month are you looking at?
Do you want
March?
to do, well, next month.
March.
March 10th? Thursday?
Let's see.
That's coming pretty quick.
That's 2 weeks from
I can do it, I'm just saying it's coming quick. When you get your stuff together.
now. Well, yeah, are you gonna get a facilitator?
I'll find somebody.
You can have
10th
enough
is
time.
good.
Sure, the 10th, perfect. 3:30.
That being planned, I can
3:30,
have to
2:30.
create.
I mean, how long do you guys want to talk? 3 o'clock? Do I hear 3
Well,
o'clock?
maybe that depends on what facilitator, so maybe do 3 in case.
Well, then if we get done before 5, it's been a productive day.
Exactly.
Okay,
3
3
o'clock.
o'clock. I'll send out a meeting invite. We will bring a friend along to help.
And the idea is to go, so before then, we should all have gone through the strategic plan.
Right.
Yes.
If the facilitator has any homework, I'll be sure you get it in advance. But you've got I'll send an updated survey report fixing the errors. It's 2 errors. We have the strategic plan, survey implementation matrix, all of the papers. Is there anything else that I can send to you in advance that would be beneficial for you? And this is a lot of stuff.
Now, are you inviting the food truck guy in the middle of that, or are you gonna wait?
They were invited to come today too,
Okay.
yeah. I mean, they can participate in discussion, they just can't vote. But
They're inviting you.
they're always invited. It's a public meeting.
That's it. So John will know.
Oh, no, I mean, they're public meetings. We just happen to be up here because the other meeting room was
I like this one
public ones to come, it's for them. If we have a really big group, then we'll see if that happens. Public
I move to close.
Second.
Okay, we are adjourned.